The S&P 500 and the Nasdaq have recovered entirely all of the tariff tantrum. The big beautiful bill is critical for a number of reasons. It is the extension of the tax cuts that is absolutely essential for the economy to grow. Furthermore, it is also a bill that includes a 1.6 trillion reduction in mandatory spending. A lot of people are criticizing the following. Number one, that the big beautiful bill increases the debt and the deficit. Number two, that the spending cuts are backloaded. They're not backloaded. People need to understand that when the administration arrived in January, the budget of 2025 was virtually 70% of it was already consumed. So obviously the spending cuts need to happen in 26, 27, 28. Furthermore, the deficit reduction is absolutely evident. The CBO projections make no sense because they are basically using a linear move, assuming that tax cuts are a spending increase, and assuming as well that all of the effects of the big beautiful bill are going to be inexistent on the economy. What do they assume? They assume no improvement in economic growth, investment, or job creation from the tax cuts. And they're assuming no improvement either in any of those items from the deregulation and the improvements for the private sector. That makes no sense. I can understand that a few socialist economists don't see the evident Laffer curve improvements and the evident positive elements coming from deregulation and tax cuts. Number one, revenues are going to be better from the reduction in government spending and also from tax cuts generating higher investment, higher growth, higher employment, and better consumption. Also, deregulation is a key positive for investment and therefore for GDP. So, the deficit is going to come down in absolute and in relative terms. Furthermore, the debt reduction is going to come from strengthening the private sector economic growth and leaving a clearer path of productivity improvement. Knowing that in 2024, most of the job creation was completely obliterated and they had to revise down almost 1 million jobs, and knowing that the growth of the economy in 2024 came mostly from deficit spending, what we need to understand is that the big beautiful bill is an absolutely essential first step to start healing the US economy and bringing it back to the private sector. It is a very positive bill, also understanding the alternative, because the alternative is much higher spending, much higher taxes, and a much higher debt. Therefore, deficit is going to come down from deregulation, from allowing the economy to breathe, from tax cuts that are going to bring more investment, more growth, and more job creation. And deregulation is going to allow investment to flow in a more consistent and stronger way in the US economy. All those things are revenue positive. In terms of spending cuts, these spending cuts are the most important in history and need to continue, but in order to continue, they also need to come from a robust level of economic growth. So, don't worry about the big beautiful bill. Worry about the alternative, because the alternative is going to French indebtedness and stagnation. The dollar is much stronger than what it looks. A lot of people are talking about the weakness of the US dollar, but the DXY relative to the yen and the euro and the nominal trade weighted US dollar is a lot stronger than many believe. Look at it. If you look at it from a long-term perspective, it is stronger than what it was with the Obama administration and the average of the Biden administration. Job creation is much stronger in America than last year. We have seen, on the one hand, that last year's job creation figures have been revised down by almost 1 million jobs. So, last year's job creation was atrocious. In 2024, the government tried to bloat job creation with 50,000 new government jobs a month, and at the same time with a figure of job creation that actually, when revised as we have seen right now, was 1 million less. Absolutely atrocious. Job creation is stronger. Now, furthermore, it's coming from a reduction in government jobs, and that is critical. Job creation is improving and real wage growth is strengthening. The Atlanta Fed assumes a 3.8% growth of the U.S. economy in the second quarter. This means two things. Number one, that the combination of the first and the second quarter are going to show a very robust economic growth. Number two, that is coming with government spending cuts. And that is critical to show not only a more robust level of economic growth, but a more sustainable level. Central banks continue to be exceedingly dovish, and in fact, money supply growth continues to rise. Therefore, what we need to pay attention in the next months is what is going to happen to rate cuts, because markets are assuming too many, and the Federal Reserve, which is way behind the curve relative to the rest of central banks. The Chinese central bank is purchasing record amounts of gold. In item number 4, what you can see is that gold purchases are going through the roof. And if we go to the next graph, what we can see is that the Chinese central bank is not only increasing its purchases of gold, but is also doing it consistently. The Chinese central bank is purchasing more gold than ever and is diminishing its position in sovereign debt. What it's looking for, a stable, real reserve of value, and is showing the diminishing confidence in sovereign bonds as a reserve asset. Gold is rising and sovereign debt continues to be exceedingly weak because confidence in sovereign debt is diminishing globally, and the solvency of developed economies is more and more in question. US inflation is not rising. There is no evidence of inflationary pressures, and what we can see in this graph, courtesy of Bloomberg, like many others, is that core CPI on a 12-month basis is looking at moving close to 0%. This is very, very positive. Therefore, what we can expect from the following months is that inflationary pressures in the United States are very weak, and at the same time, economic growth is stronger than it looks. The big beautiful bill may not be perfect, but what is really imperfect is the alternative. The US cannot follow the example of the UK. In the UK, they sabotage Liz Truss's budget. And what ended up happening is that a conservative government destroyed the economy by increasing taxes and increasing expenditure, and now Labour is doing even worse. So the big beautiful bill is not perfect, but it is the most perfect opportunity to start the healing of the United States. Keep defending freedom.
Thank you for watching this video. Please subscribe to my channel, like my videos, leave your comments below, and keep defending freedom. Thank you very much.